Many of you probably saw the headlines earlier this month after a private video involving Diddy affiliate Lil Rod and Daphne Joy started making the rounds online, instantly sparking a wave of debate across social media. Instead of disappearing from the spotlight, Daphne took a completely different approach, and honestly, you don't see this happen very often. Rather than avoiding the conversation, she leaned directly into it and started controlling the narrative for herself. Whether people agreed with that strategy or not, you have to admit it completely shifted the discussion. Before long, interview requests started pouring in from everywhere. She appeared on platforms like Cam Newton's show, Adam 22's podcast, and later sat down with DJ Akademiks. Here's where things got interesting. After Akademiks interviewed her, he openly complimented what he described as her feminine energy, something many viewers noticed throughout the conversation. If you remember that interview, she carried herself in a very calm, soft-spoken, and composed way while presenting her side of the story. Despite all the controversy surrounding her name, she managed to turn that attention into multiple high-profile podcast appearances. And to top it all off, that media run even led to her going on a date with Akademiks, which only gave people another reason to keep talking.
I pulled out. I'm not even playing with y'all. I'm gangsta. That shit, nigga. So for the dinner, the dinner cost me $3,000. Was it $3,000 or $4,000 for me? We didn't even eat. We just filmed the episode.
The two eventually went out on a date, and according to the discussion surrounding it, the evening reportedly cost somewhere around $4,000. As you can imagine, that immediately set social media on fire, with critics and commentators wasting no time sharing their opinions. And once those reactions started rolling in, this is what people had to say.
If Meg Thee Stallion is a 304, then so is Daphne Joy. The fact that she's your preference doesn't change the rule.
So this lady is saying, okay, you called Meg Thee Stallion but your preference is not a. And you know, Akademiks got.
One woman weighed in by saying, "So you were quick to criticize Megan Thee Stallion, but now this is your preference?" And considering Akademiks' well-known history of commenting on Megan, that statement definitely caught people's attention. That's why this part of the conversation is worth paying close attention to, because there's more going on beneath the surface. I also want to give credit to a TikTok creator named Sassy Reviews, who pointed out something I thought was genuinely interesting. She compared the way Diddy allegedly treated Daphne Joy with the way he treated Young Miami, and her observations gave people a lot to think about. So with that said, take a listen to what she had to say.
Not the Young Miamis. Maybe for certain demographics, that's the Young Miamis, but they're not the ones that they're going to get more by not saying, "Where am I scamming at?" No. That's for the...
So again, I'm confused. Like, Young Miami is not the top. Young Miami was getting a half a ticket out of Diddy on a shopping spree, and he wouldn't even cover Daphne's full rent for the month. Young Miami was at Met Gala. He gave her a whole show on his network. Daphne was doing SW in the hotel, so I'm confused by his whole analysis.
So if you look at the comparison being made, the argument is that Diddy appeared to give Young Miami far more public opportunities than Daphne Joy. Young Miami attended major events, landed her own show with Revolt, and seemed to receive the kind of exposure that helped elevate her profile. That's why some people believe the situation doesn't really support the narrative Akademiks was pushing about a certain type of woman fitting Diddy's preference. In fact, many viewers felt Daphne Joy's own comments challenged that idea directly. And let's be real for a second. Simply being Asian or presenting yourself in a traditionally feminine way doesn't automatically make someone everyone's ideal partner. That's a huge assumption, and it doesn't hold up once you actually look at how different people make their choices. If anything, this conversation also shows that Black women are absolutely viewed as desirable by plenty of people, despite the stereotypes that sometimes get repeated online. That's an important point that often gets overlooked whenever these debates start taking over social media. But when it comes to many Black men, the conversation becomes even layered, and that's where things start getting interesting.
Nacho Young Teague, how you what?
Hey, you know, my boy got the link up with Daphne Joy.
Yeah.
They paid
Did
4
they do
bands
an
on a
interview?
dinner. He interviewed her
And
already.
that's what you want to call it?
They went on a dinner date though.
Oh, they went on a date. Wow.
How much was the dinner date?
He said it was 4 bands.
Ain't enough calamari in the world.
Take a look at some of the reactions online, including comments from former NBA players, and you'll see people joking that Akademiks really ended up landing a date with Daphne Joy. But here's the part I think deserves a more balanced conversation, because it's easy to oversimplify what's really happening. Black men, like every other group, have a wide range of preferences, and those preferences don't all point in the same direction. We've seen relationships involving women like Megan Thee Stallion, and we've also seen examples like Young Miami, whose public relationship with Diddy appeared to come with major opportunities and visibility. At the same time, if you step back and look at Daphne Joy's dating history, she's been linked to successful names like Jason Derulo, 50 Cent, and others, yet those relationships didn't necessarily become long-term partnerships. Even so, after all the recent attention, she still found herself with major podcast appearances, another sit-down with Akademiks, and plenty of new opportunities coming her way. Now compare that to the argument some people are making about figures like Megan Thee Stallion or Young Miami supposedly not receiving the same level of incoming opportunities, and that's where the debate really starts. Personally, I don't think the issue can simply be reduced to race, because attraction and dating choices are usually far more complicated than that. People often assume men's preferences are based entirely on physical appearance, but in reality, personality, compatibility, lifestyle, and countless other factors can play just as big a role. Shout out to Jeff Teague, because conversations on his podcast have touched on how life experiences can completely reshape what someone values in a partner over time. Once you've traveled, met different people, and experienced different cultures, your perspective naturally evolves, and what you appreciate in a relationship may change as well. The speaker even pointed to his own experience in Poland, saying that the femininity he observed there left a lasting impression, despite never previously being drawn toward European women. At the same time, he admitted he still feels connected to the culture and relationships he grew up around, creating a real internal contrast between familiarity and what he's discovered through experience. Whether you agree with that perspective or not, it's an interesting way to explain how personal preferences can develop, and as he put it, every choice ultimately comes with its own trade-offs. After spending so much time outside his usual environment, the speaker argues that returning to the same relationship dynamics just isn't something he personally wants anymore. Instead, he says he's naturally drawn toward women who display the qualities he's come to value through those experiences, and he believes many successful men arrive at similar conclusions over time. From his perspective, once you're operating at the level of celebrities or wealthy public figures, there's often an assumption that many people in the dating scene already have complicated histories, so that alone isn't necessarily the deciding factor. What ends up carrying more weight, he argued, is how someone presents themselves, how they communicate, and whether they bring a sense of femininity that feels genuine. He believes that's one reason someone like Daphne Joy continues to attract attention, despite the public scrutiny surrounding her name. In his view, high-profile figures such as Akademiks or 50 Cent aren't realistically living the same dating lives as the average person, because their relationships come with a completely different set of challenges. That's why he thinks they're more likely to gravitate toward women who already understand the spotlight and know how to navigate that world. He points out that Akademiks has previously tried dating women outside that celebrity circle, but according to him, those relationships never seem to last. So when comparing names like Daphne Joy, Young Miami, or Megan Thee Stallion, he believes someone with experience around successful men may appear to be the easier choice from that perspective. He also argues that this conversation shouldn't automatically be framed around race, because in his opinion, attraction is influenced by far more than appearances alone. At the same time, he says he still sees plenty of feminine black women today, even if he believes the broader dating culture has changed compared with previous decades. He feels modern social trends, including greater emphasis on image, tattoos, and overt expressions of sexuality, have shifted the way many people present themselves publicly. Whether you agree or disagree, that's the lens through which he's viewing today's dating landscape. He finishes by saying many men are drawn to subtle flirtation and quiet confidence, believing that mystery and playful energy often create more attraction than being overly direct right from the start. He goes on to argue that, in his opinion, being overly forward too early can sometimes work against someone when it comes to attraction. Instead, he believes a little mystery, subtle flirting, and letting chemistry build naturally tends to leave a stronger impression. His point is that confidence doesn't always have to be loud, and sometimes less can actually create more curiosity. He even acknowledges that Daphne Joy can present herself in a provocative way, but he believes the difference is in how she balances that image with a softer, more playful demeanor. According to him, making someone wonder a little keeps the interaction exciting rather than revealing everything immediately. He says many men enjoy that gradual build-up because it makes the connection feel more natural and engaging. In his view, the anticipation is part of what creates attraction in the first place. That's also why he thinks Daphne Joy continues to receive attention despite the criticism surrounding her name. He argues that a lot of men already carry assumptions about the modern dating scene, whether those assumptions are accurate or not, so presentation often becomes the deciding factor. From his perspective, if someone comes across as more feminine, graceful, and approachable, that image can outweigh many of the narratives people create online. He believes that if more women adopted those qualities, they would have an even greater advantage because, in his experience, many men value those traits above almost everything else. He then says that when a man finds someone who genuinely matches what he's looking for, especially someone he believes carries those traditional qualities, he's far more likely to think about commitment than just casual dating. He even jokes that he'd proudly show off his partner everywhere they went because he'd see her as someone truly special. To support that point, he argues that this isn't simply about complexion or appearance, since many Black, African, and Caribbean men grow up admiring women who look like them. His overall message is that attraction, in his view, is shaped by far more than physical looks alone, and that's the point he believes often gets lost in these online debates.